We all think criminals are insane, that the Ted Bundys and the Unabomers of the world have to have something so completely and terribly wrong with their heads that they want and are willing and are able to do such crazy and inhumane things to so many people with such ease. The insanity defense is the name of the plea of not guilty by reason of insanity that, when submitted by the defendant, willingly admits to the commission of the crime, but omits any of the blame along with it. Since its first appearance on movies and TV shows, the insanity defense has been seen as simply an excuse for criminals like Ted Bundy and the Unabomber to receive a lightened sentence for a crime that they committed, but don't have a mental illness. And this is seen on the TV show Psych, when the Santa Barbara Police Department was celebrating the arrest of the billionaire hedge fund manager named Bernie Bethel, who was accused of murdering his assistant. When Bernie went to trial, he was found to be not guilty by reason of insanity, and when the police department found out about this, they were not happy, so they decided to send someone in undercover to a mental facility to try and prove that Bernie was faking his mental illness. This contempt, seen in Psych and many other TV shows and movies, has slowly leaked into the public perception of the insanity defense, and people now think that it is just an excuse and that it is much easier to get than it really is. In contrast to these, there must be substantial evidence for the defendant to prove that he was mentally ill at the time of the crime. That to be acquitted for his crimes, he must prove that he did not feel any guilt for the crime, that he was unaware of the nature of his crime and how it was wrong. And that he must also prove that he did not try to evade the police in any way. But there still lies a problem with how we determine if a person or a defendant is truly insane or not. The insanity defense cases are one of the hardest cases to prove in the US court of law. And jurors on these cases are not going to be experts on psychiatry in the insanity defense, so they will need a lot of extra guidance and help to know exactly what the defendant experienced while committing their crime. Psychiatrists are examples of these experts that can help a defendant and the jury know exactly what the defendant experienced while committing their crime. They can help explain how their brain works differently than the standard brain and help the jury to make the right decision. However, even though experts are so helpful and useful, only 60% of states in the US require that an expert be present and testify at each trial involving the insanity defense. Without these experts, how can we know enough about the insanity defense or about the defendant's brain and how it works differently to confirm that they are legally insane? With the possibility of an easier sentence, there is also going to be almost a guarantee that people are going to try and fake being legally insane to receive an easier sentence. This man was John Hinckley Jr., who was involved in one of the most high-profile cases involving the insanity defense in the US. He was standing outside of the Hilton Hotel in Washington, D.C. when President Ronald Reagan walked out of the hotel to his limousine with his mob of security all around him, walking as fast as they can. When John Hinckley Jr. pulled out a 6-round revolver and shot as many times as he could to try and wound the police officer, or to wound the president. By doing so, he also wounded 2 security officers surrounding the president and fatally wounded another one, while also wounding the president. The next year, in 1982, the President Ronald Reagan signed the 1982 Insanity Defense Reformation Act to significantly lower or raise the standards that you must meet to have the insanity defense applied to you. However, these limits and restrictions, I don't believe are enough. We can become much more efficient if we require a test and an observation just after arraignment where they submit their plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. We should also require that experts be present at trial and testify of the defendant in their past and family history. By doing these things, we will not make the insanity defense perfect, but we will make it much more efficient and significantly lower the amount of people who are wrongfully denied or accepted.